Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 4 of this podcast series that I've been doing. I'm DTM as always, and I brought with me a very special and returning guest. Why don't you introduce yourself, The0blivionknight?
Hey everyone, it's Oblivion from the Oblivion channel. Thank you so much for having me on again, DTM. It's always a lot of fun.
Yes, I always enjoy having you on as well. The conversations we have always been so fun, and yeah, just discussing things about Fae is always such a great time.
Yeah, anytime I talk about Fire Emblem Heroes with anybody, pretty much, I'm usually pretty happy.
Yeah, you and me both. So, yeah, I believe as of now in Fae, we have our most recent banner, which is the current Fallen banner. It's also the 1-year anniversary of last year's Fallen banner, which was definitely had a lot of impact in the community, wouldn't you say?
It was a very meta banner, that's for sure. Yeah.
Do you remember what your reaction was when you first saw that banner last year?
Oh, my initial reaction, oh man. I saw that Dimitri and Edelgard were on it, and I was just like, please let Dimitri be better than Edelgard. And then I read the weapon descriptions, and I was just like, ugh. Of course. And then I saw the two Morgans. I'm not like the biggest Morgan fan. I don't have anything against them, but like I was like, okay, cool. But my focus was completely focused on Edelgard and Dimitri, like 100%.
I think you had the exact opposite experience I did, because like I'm an Edelgard fan, and I thought for sure that Fallen Dimitri had the better kit. And that take like lasted, I think, 30 seconds. But yeah, I honestly thought that Fallen Dimitri was better because I thought I really liked the Fire Sweep and Canto. But yeah, Fallen Edelgard was definitely a very impactful unit on both of us, I believe.
Yeah, I think for me the thing was when I saw Dimitri's weapon, I didn't see the cooldown reduction, and so I was like, oh, he can't Gale Force very easily. Like he could still technically Gale Force, obviously with like Times Pulse. But I saw that and I was just like, I'm kind of disappointed. And then I saw Edelgard and she's like, oh, she can have 3 actions per turn? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna choose this one. Like 100%.
Yeah, I think Fallen Edelgard, since she released, basically took over my channel. And like every single AR clear after that featured Fallen Edelgard in some way, shape, or form. That was a fun time. I
mean, Fallen Edelgard kind of like started my channel in a sense. Like I always wanted to make content, but for me, in that current meta, right? Like the current meta of just like mobility everywhere, I had become a Gale Force player because it was just very effective. It was very good. And so seeing Fallen Edelgard, I was like, this is my chance to use beast units. Like I love beast units. They're some of my favorite units. Since they've been introduced with like, Tibern and Nyla and stuff. And I just hadn't had a good reason to use them up to that point. Like there was always just restrictions stopping me. Usually it was actually the mythics, right? The mythics weren't usually beast or dragons. So it made it difficult to use them in ether raids. But then I saw Edelgard and I was like, okay, this is my chance. Like I can finally do this. Yeah. It kind of just gave me the courage to put out that first video. Yeah, your first video, I believe, was that Beast Force team. And I think I actually saw that video when it first came out. It's kind of... Oh, wow. Yeah, like way back then. And look where you are now, 2,000 subscribers, rank 1, all because of Fallen Edelgard. Oh, I don't know about that, but yeah, it definitely helped.
For sure.
Yeah, I remember when I put that out, there was like 14 views, and I was just like, okay, yeah, this is how it's going to be for a while. Like, but it definitely picked up. It did end up doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, like, obviously, Fallen Edelgard, I think, was definitely a huge growth point for my channel as well. And honestly, like, I feel like the impact Fallen Edelgard has is still being felt to this day, at least in the community. Like, people are still talking about Fallen Edelgard. What do you think in particular about her made her last in our perceptions of her?
I think it's just how unique she is, right? Like, I think a lot of people are like comparing her to Fallen Rhea, but like Edelgard does something that no other unit really can do. Like even Legendary Edelgard can't really do what Fallen Edelgard does. And that is just a combination of so many things, right? She has distant counter. She has the built-in Gale Force into her weapon. She can run Gale Force very effectively with her preference B skill, which is a big deal.
Right.
And like she also has that damage reduction. So she's just so good as a mixed to phase unit. It lets her just do whatever she wants, which is, really cool to be honest, but it also makes it so that it's really easy to hate on her.
Right. Yeah. When I was seeing the comparisons about Fallen Rhea to Fallen Edelgard, I didn't particularly see it because like Fallen Rhea is all enemy phase, right? Like bracing stance, and just having saves in general. Doesn't have like the extra action that Fallen Edelgard has. And I feel like Fallen Edelgard is definitely a lot more flexible. Rhea I do think is a better save unit, however. But again, like I really like the player phase capabilities of Fallen Edelgard because, like you, I was really into Gale Force back then.
I think that's the thing. When Fallen Edelgard came out, a lot of people just saw her and they were like, oh, it's like this amazing save defensive unit. Like, she's so powerful. Right. But for me, I just saw like the player phase side of it. Like, I saw like, oh, how much can I do with this? Like, actively playing, right? Like, I can just go in and destroy a lot of their threats and then tank the rest if I have to, or like, body block them so they can't attack at all. And especially in that meta back in the day, because it was that mobility meta, a lot of the units on the team weren't very durable, I guess is the best way to put it, right? Right. You had like legendary Sigurds and Knots who were difficult, but then a lot of the other ones were just dancers or like cavalry units with like very low defense, like
Selena?
Sacred Stone Selena and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could just go in and smash them with one hit, and then you still have 2 more actions possibly on Edelgard, which was enough usually to take out the team with some help.
Right. And back then, when she released, we didn't even have safety fence. So a lot of the times people were also running Bolt Tower. And what I would do back then was I basically waited out the Bolt Tower turn and then essentially just smited Fallen Edelgard in, take out 3 units, and then just have her tank the rest. And it was surprising how often that worked. Like, back then, with like the whole Dancer Trap with Legendary Sigurd and high threat range, despite the high threat range, you can normally like wait out to turn 3 and then go in and take out all the swishy but threatening units.
Yeah, I think that's where some of the like misconception of Edelgard's power came from, was because like the first, I don't know, was it 2 weeks or 3 weeks where they had bonus stats on Edelgard? Like she was superficially powerful. Right. And so people saw all that and they're like, oh, this Edelgard just took the whole enemy team out. Like, she must be ridiculous. And it's like, she is ridiculous, but at the same time, like, bonus stats are really, really powerful, right? You're getting plus $4 stats and 10 health. Like, that's massive.
Yeah, especially.
So I think after that, she kind of not fell off at all, but people started to see what her true power level was.
Right. And I do think that bonus week definitely inflated her threat compared to what she actually is. Because, like, I remember I ran Fallen Edelgard on defense, I think, for 4 weeks. 2 of them in her bonus season, and 2 of them after her bonus seasons. And her on her bonus season actually worked decently well. Like, there were times that people were legitimately checkmated, but then after her bonus season, like, everything was so bad for Fallen Edelgard on defense. Like, she just went down she just provided no threat, really, on defense without those, like, bonus stats. And so I do think that, like you said, the bonus week definitely did do a lot to make people really intimidated for Fallen Edelgard.
Yeah, I think so. Like, the thing is, and then also immediately, like, they started releasing even more counters to her, because like, back then, the no follow-up weapons weren't as prevalent, right? Like, who really had it back then? I think it was like Baby Merrick and like the Byleths or something like that. Maybe somebody else, I can't remember. But like, there weren't that many units.
Did Selena have it? Like Sacred Stone Selena?
Yes, she had it too.
Yeah.
So it kind of made it so that like not that many people could like hard counter her in that way. But then they kind of like put out way more of them. It's like so prevalent now, it's ridiculous. Right. So like it's really easy to just find a way to defeat her, especially with something like Legendary Byleth that came out right after, or like Brave Erica. And so they kind of like, I guess they like did the same thing they always do, where they kind of make a problem and sell you the solution, but they did it really, really quickly. It was like a month or 2 at the most.
I mean, when it comes to Fallen Edelgard counters, I remember like all the threads about on Reddit on like people trying to figure out how to deal with her, and someone did mention that like we have units like an unmerged Bowie apparently can hard counter her, which was really interesting, especially with like yeah, like a Bowie with triangle adept, quick riposte, and some other like build or something like that can like apparently counter Fallen Edelgards, even plus 10 ones, which I found really shocking back then. I think the Shadow actually released a video about units that can counter Fallen Edelgard right now, and that that also included like an unmerged Anna. Of course, that has to include like yeah. Apparently, unmerged Anna can take out a plus 10 Fallen Edelgard as long as she has like Steady Breath and Ruptured Sky. And obviously, Steady Breath didn't exist back then.
As a seal.
As a seal, right? But like you can get it from other effects, or you could just use a better unit than unmerged Anna.
Don't say that. Fetison's gonna come after you.
Oh no, Fetison's going to come after me. Our friendship is ruined. But no. But no, like obviously like counters existed back then. It was just like really hard to build. Like you had to like specifically build a unit to hard counter her back then, compared to like the plethora of units we have now that are like pre-installed with the kit they need to beat Fallen Edelgard.
Right.
I think that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I remember like I made a fault video to my first video. Like I think it was like a couple weeks later or something like that. And it was like I made a video like how many Fallen Edelgards can I kill? And it was during your bonus season, and this person had like was it 5 or 6 Fallen Edelgards on one team. And they were all bonus unit stats. And I gale forced all of it with Fallen Edelgard and Pirate Tybert. It was like the best feeling ever. And the video got like no views. I was so sad. I was like so disappointed.
Wait, I don't think I saw that video. Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't think very many people did. Like, I think I only got like 200 views or something like that. But like, I just like swept the whole team. It was so cool.
Yeah, I am very curious about that now. I want to see that. Definitely link me to that.
I'll link it to you later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, obviously,
yeah,
go ahead.
She was like a menace for a second, I would say, for sure. And even then, like even after that, when people started to see her true power level, there was just so many creative ways to use her that like it made her really versatile and fun to use. Even though I will say like her kit is definitely like overloaded. Like the amount of effects in the kit is just ridiculous.
Right. I think the most fun I've had with her is definitely as a player face unit with Gale Force. Sometimes like I get rid of her preference B entirely and just run like Wings of Mercy with the Heavy Blade seal and just have her as a follow-up unit. And that way, like I don't have to worry about her getting under Wings of Mercy, getting 2 Wings of Mercy range as an initiator, because that can be quite hard with her kit.
Yeah, that's how I used her. I just put Wings of Mercy in her B slot and then Heavy Blade, and I would have Pirate Tybert engage and like get below 50%, which she could do pretty well back then. But then I started merging him because I was like, I want to make him better, and it made him worse because his HP got too high.
Yeah. I mean, that's the struggle, right? Like as initiators, you don't want like a lot of stats, even though like stats help you take out units or like meet those Heavy Blade or Flashing Blade checks.
Yeah, you always have to be careful with the HP thresholds. And I think that's why like Winter Burnie has become such a great unit, just because you can control that to an extent. The problem is I only have 1 Winter Burnie, so I can only use it in season.
I mean, that's more than what I have. Just 0.
Yeah, I literally pulled for that reason. Because I did pull for her on the original banner, but then when she came back, I don't remember on what banner, I was like, I need 1 copy. Just 1 copy so I can get the HP manipulation I need.
I was so tempted to try to get Winter Burnie, but I think I held out to summon for Legendary Lucinos remix, which I'm very thankful for, but still, not having Winter Burnie like still really hurts, because I already imagined how much fun I would have had like doing Gale Force strategies in Ether Raids.
I'm hoping they release more characters with that kind of effect, because I think it's such an amazing effect, and it could be a really, it's like a really strategic skill, right? Like it's not something that's just like powerful for the sake of being powerful. It's something that you have to like plan and use. So I kind of like those effects more than just like, slap NFU and like true damage or something.
Yeah, likewise. Like one of the things I like about Fallen Edelgard is that it enabled enabled a very cool and fun gimmick, or like a different play style that you can do. Like we've had Gale Force units before, but I don't know, something about Fallen Edelgard being able to take 3 actions, that was just really fun to me. Like I think Fallen Edelgard functions a lot better as that Gale Force 3 actions unit rather than a tank, which I've seen a lot of people do in my replays, and it never really works out.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like when Legendary Edelgard came out, I wanted to use her that way, but then she had the solo condition, right? Where she has to be solo to get the Gale Force. And then she's also a fire legendary, so she can only be used in fire season.
Right.
So that kind of like turned me off from using her a bit, especially because she couldn't run Wings of Mercy, so I couldn't use her as a follow unit. She had to be the engaging unit. So I think that's what kind of like turned me off from that. So when I saw Fallen Edelgard and those conditions weren't there, it was like really appealing.
Yeah. I mean, I've used Legendary Edelgard too on Ether Raid's offense, and yeah, one of the biggest problems with her is the fact that she has to initiate because she can't run Wings of Mercy, and you have to rely on either bolt towers on defense, which are pretty rare in the Vault of Heavens, although not completely gone, or like bolt traps, and not every bolt trap is going to be at least 30 damage, even though most of them are 50. Like there are those cases where they're just 10, and when you hit those, it feels super bad because you basically just auto lose from there.
I've been there a lot. Like, I wish I could go back and not upgrade my bolt trap, but it did so much work originally. Like upgrading your bolt trap, like that first 3 months of Ether Raids was like phenomenal. You could just win a match if they stepped on it sometimes.
Oh really? I never experienced that meta where bolt traps like could win you matches. Well, how was that back then?
So the way it kind of worked for me, the highest I've ever hit in Ether Raids was rank 6 in Astra season before Mythics arrived. So like it was like a legit rank 6, right? And the way I did it was I abused the fact that there was no Null Sea Disrupt yet. There was no way to counter healers. So what I did is I used a really strong bolt trap so that if they got near me on this, I forgot what map it was, but like it was one of the nerf maps before they got nerfed. It was really difficult to approach.
Was it Spring Breeze or something like that? It was the wall map, right?
Right. Yeah. There's like a way to set up a wall, so they can only approach like 1 or 2 ways. And so I set up a restore trap. So like if they got close, either the restore trap would go off and I'd snipe something, or if they hit the bolt trap, I would get a restore trap off and I'd kill something else. And then Brave Lyn was there, so they couldn't counter Brave Lyn back then either. Yeah. And it was super toxic, but it worked. And it got me like perfect defense that week, and I hit rank 6.
Wow. I wish I could have experienced that, because that seems like so unlikely nowadays. With like
no, it wouldn't work nowadays at all.
Yeah. I mean, I think the meta has definitely gone a long way, and units like the safe units we have now, Fallen Edelgard, Sigurd, Not. Yeah, I don't think that would have been imaginable back then.
Oh no, yeah. Like it was, I really did enjoy that meta though, because even though it was super, super difficult, and it really came down to like every bit of math you had to do was correct.
Right.
Like it just felt really good to win. Which it can still feel that way now, but it is different, I would say. The gameplay style of Ether Raids is very different than it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, what is the meta in Ether Raids right now? Like, from my experience, it's just either save balls or player phase on offense, and there's really no in between. You don't really see Vantage anymore. Like, save tanking has basically taken over enemy phase strats, I feel.
There actually is some Vantage play, but it's just very, very uncommon. So I know like there's a character named there's a VTuber named June and a VTuber named 1000. I think they're both Japanese players. I'm not 100% sure. I know 1000 is. And they use Vantage strats still. They use like a Brave Marth strat, and then the other 1000 uses Altina. He's like an Altina simp. All of his characters like
I feel like, sorry for him.
Plus 10 Altinas. No, he's really, really, really good. Like he's amazing. He makes these Altinas look overpowered. He's so good. Like it's ridiculous. Oh yeah.
Altina, overpowered.
Yes. Well, it's Winter Altina.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
That makes more sense.
He uses Winter Altina, and Winter Altina just like she just takes out everything. It's ridiculous. Like the way he can just pull off stuff. He's so smart. Like he's a really good player. So I'll like watch his streams and it'll be like me and like, 1,000 Japanese people and I'm like the only person typing in English. But it's a lot of fun and it still works. It just takes a lot of AI knowledge and it doesn't work on every map, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean obviously like Vantage strats can still work. I think I've also seen people use Vantage Brave Marth, I think, in Ether Raids as well.
Right. Yeah, with the Vantage built into his weapon. Yeah, I've seen that, like the Special Spiral Brave Marth.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Joel was trying to push that, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I mean, he did make his video of like clearing with Brave Marth, but I mean, I don't think that means anything. I cleared a season with OG Lucina. Am I going to claim that Lucina is good in Ether Raids? Probably not. As much as I love Lucina, like, there's so much better units that you can use than Lucina.
Yeah, I think Brave Marth is good. It's just like, there's so many red swords nowadays that are good, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have to be able to do more than I feel like Brave Marth does, because he's so reliant on buffs. Like if a panic manner is in the wrong spot, or like you get hit by a panic staff, which is very uncommon nowadays. But either way, like if your team loses those buffs, like you're in big trouble, and Brave Marth's gonna probably just die.
For sure.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, how would you gauge whether or not a unit is good, in your opinion?
Oh man. There's a lot of factors nowadays. I guess it matters like how you're looking at like what game mode, right? Because like a unit can be very good in one game mode and be very terrible in the other game mode.
Right. Yeah.
So for something like Ether Raids, like you need a way to deal with a lot of the meta units, which pretty much nowadays is just like you use safe units because it splits up the matchup between two units.
Right.
Like that's the biggest thing that people talk about it, but like not enough, is that being able to split up matchups between two different units just makes it so much easier than it is if you're trying to use like an Omni tank or something like that, right?
Right.
It's like a lot of times you'll be using that Omni tank and they'll be surviving until like the very last unit, and then they just get killed because they're like too low on HP or something.
Yeah.
But then with save balls, you can kind of like split that up, and then it's not that big of a deal. And also you're protecting all the units around you, so it means you can like use like much more aggressive supports. Like you can put your flame up much farther, and you can position where like you don't really have to worry about stuff. So I don't really know how you could say what's good in Ether Raids nowadays when saves are so dominant. Yeah. They're so dominant right now. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I guess
when it comes to defense, I guess when it comes to defense, like you really need like firepower, like a lot of firepower, and like
for sure.
Flexibility, I guess. I'm not really sure. Like I feel like that's why Brow Catcher is so good. It's because she gives firepower and flexibility, like in the mobility section.
Right. I mean,
that's all I've been seeing lately in light season is just every single thing's a catcherable.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's pretty much the only defense that is consistent enough with like all these save balls running rampant. Like for me, like how I see a unit is if I can find a reason to use them versus other options, then they're like then they are more, I guess, good than other units that have less of a reason to use them versus other options. And obviously that is like super dependent on the mode and what the quote unquote reason is. So like something like Lucina, for example, like even though she can definitely perform well in Ether Raid's offense, there isn't really a reason to use her compared to say a save ball or any other red sword infantry, right? Whereas like a unit like Brave Marianne or even Fallen Edelgard, like, they have a lot of good reasons to use them. Like, Brave Marianne has the dance effect, and obviously we all know Fallen Edelgard has triple actions.
Yeah, I think, I can't remember what video I made, but there was something about, I was talking about that, like, everything comes down to comparisons between, like, different units, right? Like, you compare support units, you compare tank units, or whatever. You always are comparing unit versus other unit. And so I guess that's, like, just the most common way to do that, right? Like, the most easy way to, like, kind of understand what values a unit can bring to your team.
Right.
So I guess, yeah, like, if they have a unique enough ability, or if, like, they are just the best at what they do compared to other people, then you're going to probably just end up using that unit.
I mean, like, that is the reason why I like the more, like, gimmicky, unique units versus, like, the traditional carries. Like, in this current banner, I'm very much in love with Fallen Lilith and Ninian. I think they are super unique and not only super fun to use, they provide, like, a niche that not, like, at least for Fallen Lilith's case, no other unit really provides, in being able to literally teleport across the map to the support partner and attack. And obviously, like, Fallen Ninian special cooldown charge can be replicated, sort of, with effects like Thor, or I guess Brave Lucina for specifically enemy phase, or things like that. But still, it just, as a dancer, that also, like, provides a dance ruse. Like, there's a lot of flexibility in that, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I completely agree. When it comes to this year's Fallen banner, like, Lilith and Ninian are just, like, the standouts to me. Like, Rhea's obviously strong, and people are gonna like her for that. But I feel like she won't survive the test of time, which I'm sure a lot of people will be happy to hear.
Yeah.
But I feel like she has some of those aspects that just don't do that great, like for longevity. Like, her damage reduction is normal damage reduction.
Right.
So, like, any piercing effects, like Deadeye Lethality, are going right through it. If I see that, I'm already like, And then she also has Dragon and Armor Weakness. It's not the best. I mean, she does have color going for her, so that's something. But, like, overall, I'm just not too in love with that unit.
Yeah, like, when I first saw that, I thought she would be definitely one of the premier near safe units, just because we don't have a Deadeye or Lethality for near save, except for Nana, I believe, is the only thing that pierces damage reduction for melees now. But people are obviously already trying to turn her into a far safe unit. I mean, it makes sense because far save is generally more valuable than near save.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Fallen Edelgard not Fallen Edelgard, Fallen Rhea makes a good far save unit, because, like, I think I would have preferred a true dragon wall to have some sort of, like, hardy fighter effect. I think that would make her stand out a lot more compared to just having true dragon wall.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really like how the effects in her weapon either. Like, it's a good effect, like the true damage based off the foe's resistance, but it's just not. I would rather have defensive effects in the weapon, and that way I can swap out the B skill for something different and still have those defensive effects.
Right.
But yeah, I think you're right though, that she is probably a pretty good near saver, because, like, only Legendary Nana can really deal with that. But the other thing is that, like, she's really slow, right?
Oh yeah.
And so that means that a lot of the melee units nowadays run speed-based damage reduction. So that means they're going to get full damage reduction against her, which means that they probably can live, because she doesn't double, like, ever. Like, it's very, very difficult to get her to double. So
yeah, actually, yeah, I haven't thought about that, but you're right. The damage reduction would definitely allow a lot of units to survive. I mean, obviously we'll need to sim it out, and I don't think the sim's been updated yet, which I really want to, because I want to know the dual crom matchup.
Right.
But yeah, like, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think Valentine's Lucina is actually a really good near save, is because of that high speed. Although Legendary Nana sort of put a stop to that. But yeah, having high speed is definitely the way to go for these armors. Unless you're like Brave Hector or Ascendant Idune, I guess. Then you can just like continue to be the top tier of top tiers.
Yeah, that's the thing about Ascenda to do too. She can also just run high speed, which is like ridiculous. Like she has that much BST where she can just run speed and it's actually effective.
I mean, yeah, she can do that. She has no armor like Brave Hector. They literally made Brave Hector 2 because Brave Hector, after like 1.5 years, is still the best, one of the best tanks in the game. Like that's ridiculous.
I mean, they went really hard on counters against him too. Like that last year, how many green units did they put out to try to kill Brave Hector? Like when you think about it, right? Like our whole Hero Rises was green units, and I felt like, okay, maybe there's a reason for this. Maybe they're trying to push Hector out the meta, but it's just not working. That's
true. Like maybe that's why they made Ninjoran, Winter Lysithea. Like we talk about Fallen Edelgard counters, but maybe the real counter IS was trying to defeat was for Brave Hector.
Oh, I totally think that, yeah. I don't know if I'm just on my own like agenda here, but like they put out like Atri, who's really good, Thor, even though he doesn't have armor weakness, but like Thor, Atri, Duocorn, Winter Lysithea, Legendary Byleth, like all these units are so good against Hector, and he still found a way to survive.
Right. Like you compare like Brave Hector to like Fallen Edelgard. Like Fallen Edelgard, I feel like right now is actually really difficult to use unless you're in Aether Raid's offense. Like on defense, she's bad. In Summoner's Duel, she's bad. In Arena, she's kind of bad, especially with like Ninjorans and Dual Leafs and Dual Chroms everywhere now. Brave Hector is still going strong and has honestly no signs of stopping to this day.
I think it kind of comes down to like what makes it Dune and Hector so good is that they're not reliant on damage reduction. And while that seems kind of weird because damage reduction was such a large part of the meta,
right?
Because it was such a large part of the meta, they start making counters against that, right?
Right.
So units like Fallen Edelgard, who are reliant on that 40% damage reduction, can get it nullified really easily. And not only that, they have armor weakness, so it's like a double, nail in the coffin. While Hector doesn't have armor weakness and isn't reliant on damage reduction, he just is reliant on high stats essentially.
Right.
So it kind of makes him hard to beat. He's just like a big stat check you have to get past.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, a lot of people run like Brave Hector with Flame, as that's one of the most common support options in Aether Raids. But like Flame is definitely not necessary for Brave Hector to shine in Aether Raid's offense. Even back when like we had all the shenanigans going on in defense. And yeah, it's like you said, like null penalties, the supremely overtuned weapon refine that prevents foe prevents foe follow-ups and enables his own follow-ups. Yeah, like he's just super overtuned to this day.
Yeah. I think that's another thing a good point to bring up is like in the meta from like last year and this current meta, units are like really difficult to kill nowadays, right? And so you really do need doubles. And so something like Fallen Edelgard or Fallen Rhea, where they cancel their own ability to double, is like kind of a big dead.
Yes.
While like Brave Hector has that built-in double, and Ascended Dune doesn't, but it's pretty easy to get a double on her. Mm-hmm. So it makes it so they can do things that other units just cannot. And not only can they do that, what I like about Hector is that like you can make him more flexible because you don't need to use a fighter skill that is reliant on giving him an extra hit, like a Dune kind of need.
Right. And yeah, honestly, that is one of my biggest gripes about Fallen Edelgard. Like, now that you mentioned her Wary Fighter effect, like, that Wary Fighter effect is so bad. Like, people list it as a positive effect. I see it as a huge detriment because she just misses so many kills because of Wary Fighter. And it's not like it's hard to circumvent Wary Fighter from the opponent's side with so many auto double effects from things like Dual Leaf's auto double effect, which was super common back then, Selena, which is super common back then, or just brave weapons like Reinhardt back then. Like, Wary Fighter does nothing. I'm sorry.
I think that's another thing too, is like, it sounds weird, but like having a non-optimal stat line was actually in Brave Hector's favor. which sounds really weird, right? But like now, if you look at armors nowadays, right, like they optimize the crap out of their stat line. So something like Rhea or Fallen Edelgard have like extremely low speed, but really high defense and attack and resistance.
Right.
But Hector didn't get that. Hector got like a middling speed. And so what that actually allows you to do is like to not necessarily invest into the speed, but like with merges and dragon flowers and just normal buffs, he gets to the point of speed where like he can actually make sure that his double denial works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is important.
Yeah, that's super important. And like you can definitely like you can't speed stack Fallen Edelgard or Fallen Rhea. Like I think they have 18 speed about. Is that correct? I mean,
right, it's not easy to. Yeah, right. It's definitely difficult.
And like with that low speed, like any of the common auto double units can basically naturally double now. So like with the auto double, they cancel the Wary Fighter effect, and then because they have a high enough speed to double Fallen Edelgard gets hit twice anyways. Like this is very common with units like Dual Leaf. Bramimon is another common unit that can do that. And I feel like Rhea would have the same issues as well. Unless, of course, you're just running as a near safe unit, since all of those that I've just mentioned are mages. But I mean, even still, there's still like auto double units that are melee. Or you could just run into a Brave Erica as well, I guess.
Right. Like, a lot of melee units just have like NFU built into their kit. Like even if it's half NFU, it's still built into their kit.
Right.
So it's pretty easy to get past. The real thing with Rhea is just like, can you survive the one counterattack? And if you can, then you probably won, or you at least like stalemated so that Dancer could come in and win that matchup for you.
Right. And obviously the key thing about Fallen Rhea is being able to like one-shot the enemy with the true damage. Probably an Iceberg proc as well if you're running Warding Breath on her.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely scary. You like an Iceberg is gonna hit real hard.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be very scary. But yeah, her having Wary Fighter it is definitely a huge downside, in my opinion.
And speaking of other units on the banner, like you were saying, Fallen Lilith and Ninian, like, oh man, I'm really interested to see where they go because it's still very early, so we don't have like enough information yet to see how they can be optimally used.
Right.
But I am very interested to see Lilith in SD because I think that's going to be the format where she like really shines.
I've already seen discussions about trying to use her in SD, and so far they've looked extremely promising. And
yeah, she's scary.
I mean, even without her teleporting, her giving like no follow-up is already super huge. And like one of the biggest problems I've had with using Not in the most recent SDR run I did was the fact that she doesn't have no follow-up, and so things like Legendary Sigurd can still double despite not like completely outspeeding Legendary Sigurd, and get the Holy Knight Aura proc, which is fun to deal with. But like if she had that no follow-up, then obviously Not would be able to survive and probably even kill Legendary Sigurd. So like even just from like a support angle, Fallen Lilith is super good with that no follow-up effect. And then the teleporting is also just, I feel like, pushes her beyond as well.
Yeah, that's why I definitely ended up summoning. I was like, I'm not going to summon, I'm not going to do it. And I just kept looking at her and I'm like, man, Lilith and Ninian are really good. I really want one. I really want to try out some kind of teleporting strat with like maybe like Ashe, Legendary Dimitri, and Lilith.
That sounds really
Lilith
cool.
can give Dimitri no follow-up, which was what he's missing.
Right.
And then he has like a million ways of getting damage reduction, right? His weapon, Vital Astra, Speed Smoke, if you want to run that, right? I don't know if that's going to be optimal yet. I have to try it out. Well, I don't know if I could try it out. I'm going to wait for Joel to try it out. And then
the best strat for that.
But I would love to see that, because like if you could teleport and get Dimitri in and like he hits somebody and kills him, and then Lilith comes in and kills somebody and puts Speed Smoke on everyone, like you're not killing Dimitri. Like what are you going to do?
Yeah, that sounds like really toxic to be honest. But yeah, honestly, I think Time's Pulse would still probably be best on him just to get that Vital Astra proc and charged. But yeah, Speed Smoke.
I'm trying to think if like Duochrome can do that for him.
Maybe.
But it'd only be for that first one. But like it could be interesting where like Geocrom could give him that and then he can run Speed Smoke. I don't know. I haven't done any tests yet, so it's just me like speculating at this point.
Yeah. I love how we like talk about all these units and we haven't even mentioned Gustav yet.
I don't. Gustav is so underwhelming to me, to be honest.
Same. Like, I mean, I do appreciate him being on the banner because, you know, tie into book 3, it's been so long. But like, I tried seeing him as like a Gale Force unit. I tried seeing him as like a cav tank. I just don't think it works. Like, really, unfortunately.
I think he'll be okay. Like, I think he'll be a decent. You know, I mean, like he'll be strong, sure, but like he's just nothing. Like he's nothing special to me. I guess he doesn't have like anything unique about him that makes me like happy to use him.
Right, and yeah, I think he just doesn't offer anything special, like you mentioned. I mean, I think the main thing he could have done because I initially saw him as like a potential Gale Force user with that special acceleration and the slaying. But one of the big issues is that I feel like he would have to be an initiator, and he doesn't really have a consistent way to get below 50% HP to, you know, allow other units to warp in. I mean, obviously he can run Wings of Mercy, and that's totally fine. But at that point, it's really hard to get him to proc Gale Force unless you either don't run Bolt Tower or Savage Blow, or you just leave a specific unit that he'll be able to double. And he only doubles if the foe cannot counterattack? Or can counterattack? I forgot.
Can counterattack.
Can counterattack, right.
Yeah, I'm not too happy with. Like, he's like whatever. Like, if I got him, I'd use him probably for a little bit, and I'd probably like fire him for attack smoke. I'm being completely honest.
Probably. or the trace skill, one or the other.
Or I forgot. Yeah, you get both. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull him. I didn't have the best luck on this banner, unfortunately, which is it happens.
I haven't summoned yet. So.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were going to or not.
I've been debating so hard. Like, initially I was planning, before the banner release, I was like preparing to summon just in case like something catch my eye, and something did, which was Fallen Lilith. But honestly, I'm still conflicted on whether or not I actually want to summon on it, because I don't know, like, Fallen Lilith is super cool and super fun, but I feel like I don't really like exactly need her compared to like Hardy Fighter, for instance, which I desperately need. I mean, I do have Brave Hector at home, but he's stressed out. Sorry, Rudolph.
So I was talking about, and I don't know if it was with you or somebody else, but I was talking about how like I feel like this year is the year of specials, right? Like we're getting new specials, we're getting special acceleration, we're just getting a bunch of ways to do that, right?
Right.
And now we've got a Ninian, and she can do this as well.
Oh yes.
But the cool thing about Ninian, I think, is that the other thing they've been playing up this year is dragons, and we are moving closer and closer to Brave Tiki. So my thinking is like, is Fallen Ninian going to be Brave Tiki's best support? Like, is that possible? And if that is, how powerful should it be? Like, imagine like if we get a Brave Edelgard situation again, but it's Brave Tiki, right? Right. And then we have Fallen Ninian, and Fallen Ninian's like one of our best supports. Like, that could be a really cool. We could have like Dragon Emblem come back.
I haven't even thought about that. Oh my goodness, that is so cool.
Yeah, so that's why I ended up pulling, I think. Not only because it was like two reasons. One, Lilith. Lilith is amazing, just like in a ton of different ways, and is really cool. Right. And then Ninian, not only because she's my favorite, but because she might be the the backbone of possible Dragon Emblem in the future.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about that potential. I was already super excited for Brave Tiki, but now I'm even like just more excited. And like, Fallen Ninian, I feel like dragons have definitely come back. I feel like there's been super meta now, or at least very underrated.
They're pushing them hard. Like, I mean, like, look at Ascended to Dune, Fallen Rhea now, Medius. Medius is super good. Oh my god, sure. It's ridiculous. And, Fallen Ninian is really just a great unit in the fact that she, they dumped her attack stat, which people are laughing at and memeing, right? Because, like, we haven't seen a 27 attack unit since 2017.
Right.
But it's actually a good thing because it let her have really high HP, which means not only can she accelerate specials through her dance, she can run IP, which is historically very strong, right? That can allow us for some crazy stuff. And that extra movement on dragons is like the hidden thing that I think is really going to make her an insane unit in the future.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited about that potential synergy. And yeah, I mean, obviously, like, people did meme about her high attack stat, but I didn't really mind. Like, Fallen Ninian isn't supposed to attack anyways. Like, in some instances, having not just because of high HP, but having low attack could be helpful in like something like Ether Raid's defense, where like you don't want the unit to attack, you want them to dance, and having low attack stat helps with that, as opposed to other dancers like Triandra.
I called Triandra bad the second I saw her, and people got so mad at me. But like, she likes to just jump in and like blow herself up. I'm like, Triandra, please, like, just chill, stop killing yourself every time you get a chance to.
I don't think I've had a single Triandra not get baited by any of my units. Like, she just does not dance at all, unless it's like the 7th slot unit, which congratulations, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
What's I gonna say? Oh, so to look back at like a past banner, right? Like, let's look back at the Bridal banner in, was it 2019? I can't remember what year it was. Oh god, the one with Duo Micaiah and Bride Raphael, right?
Oh yes.
So if we look at that banner, at the time, who was the best unit on that banner?
At the time,
yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people were really excited about Duo Micaiah because of her dominance, right?
Right, exactly. Like, everybody was like, Duo Micaiah is insane. She's making these level 1 units kill like fully invested units, and everybody was focused on her. But if you look at it now, the best unit on that banner is Bride Raphael, like 100%. Like,
for sure,
hands down, right? He was like this really slept on, amazing support unit, and I think Fallen Ninian is going to be that same thing, where people notice she's good, but they don't realize just how good she is because they don't have the context of what is coming yet.
That reminds me a lot about CYL5 and Brave Marianne, actually. Although I would never claim that Brave Marianne is better than Brave Erica with Summoner's Duels now in effect. But like, I feel like if we do not take Summoner's Duels into account, like, I think like Brave Marianne is better than Brave Erica, and because of something similar to that, to be perfectly honest. Very controversial to take, obviously, but I still stand by it.
We have 2 Brave Marianne sips in the chat.
Yes, we stand Marianne.
Joel's probably like, Joel's all like waving at us like, no, I think Brave Marianne's amazing. I love her. I think she's great. And I think when she does get her refined next year, which is stupid to me that she's already going to be getting it. I think she's going to be even more insane. And people are going to be like freaking out about her because she's such a good unit now. She just needs that strategic element. You have to think. You have to use your brain. I know it's not a thing that people like to do, but it is something that makes her really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that requiring like a strategic mind is a detriment to how good she is. Like,
no,
just because a unit takes skill to use doesn't mean they're bad, right?
Yeah, I don't think so at all. I think it's all about like how good can the best player in the world use that character, right? Like that there's a value there for sure.
It's about like the ceiling of what that unit enables you to accomplish, not like lowering the floor or something like that.
Right. Yeah. How good is this unit at her worst? Like, okay, that's not really the way.
I think Brave Marianne Sims reporting in.
I can't wait till they show the 3 Hopes version of her. I'm gonna be
I'm so excited. Man, as of recording, like they like released the Blue Lions 3 Hopes trailer, and every one of us is super excited about these characters. Like, I'm so excited for the future banners as well, for the future trailers as well.
Right. For me, like, my favorite female characters are Petra and then Marianne. So I can't wait to see what their new looks look like, because I bet they're gonna look amazing.
Yes, for sure. But yeah. I guess circling back to the current Fallen banner, how do you think they will impact the meta, if at all? Do you think?
It's always difficult to say like how a unit will impact the meta at the current moment, right? Like sometimes you can just tell, you can see Legendary Sigurd and be like, okay, this guy's he's gonna warp the meta. Like it's pretty easy to see that one. With something like Lilith and Ninian, it's difficult. I think Lilith is gonna be really strong in summoner duels and very annoying to deal with. Like if we just look at something like Sonya, right? Like teleportation is super strong. Now, obviously Sonya has 2 range, which is a bit different. But when you see skills like, or captain skills, I should say, like Erosion coming out, where it's ignoring saves, it shows that on certain maps, on certain weeks, when these skills are available, you're not going to be able to run saves as reliably. And so things like Lilith are going to be really, really strong. So I think that's where her place is going to be. I don't really think she's going to be amazing in Ether Raids, just because like there's already units who can kind of do what she does in a sense. Not so much that they can just teleport at any point. But in Ether Raids, it's pretty easy to set up Wings of Mercy and do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Or you could just use like OG Lilith and almost have the same effect. So being able to teleport and snipe one unit isn't that big of a deal. If she had Gale Force, on the other hand, that would be insane. There's no reason why dragons can't inherit Gale Force. I'm still so mad about that. Well, now there's a reason, because Lilith exists. Okay. Well, I think there's a lot other problems in the game besides dragons having Gale Force. All right. Yes. Yeah, I agree. Oh, man. Imagine if ranged units had Gale Force. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Ninjoran and Linja get even stronger, I feel. Right? Yeah. But other than that, I think that Ninian has a good chance of becoming a very meta unit. It's just a matter to see what's coming. And I think Brave Tiki being one of the big factors there, because she is technically she will be a free-to-play unit in a sense, right? Like she's not fully free-to-play, but she is accessible to everyone to an extent. Yeah, I guess that's true. And yeah, I honestly feel the same way. It's really hard to gauge right now. I personally don't think Rhea will make that big of an impact on the meta, or have that big of an impact on the community, like say Fallen Edelgard did. I do think Lilith is definitely very going to be a sleeper hit, but it's hard to gauge right now. And yeah, Ninian also is, I feel like, a sleeper hit as well. Honestly, like, yeah, this Fallen banner I don't think will have the same impact as the last banner, which I think is probably a good thing. Yeah, it's really hard to gauge, I guess. Right, yeah. I mean, historically, Fallen banners haven't always been like meta shifters, right? Like last year's obviously was. The year before that was a favorite Fallen banner for me because I had Leon and Ike, obviously. But if I'm being completely honest, right, that wasn't really a meta shifter. It was just giving you like an alternate God Sword and then a niche range tank, right? Like it wasn't anything that like directly impacted the meta. I don't know what came before that, but I can't really think of a Fallen unit that has been like ridiculously meta impactful other than like last year. I mean, I do think Fallen Leon like definitely had like some sort of meta impact because he was super common in at least the replays that I've encountered. But I agree with you in general. Like, yeah, I guess these banners haven't been as meta impactful. It's just that one banner like brought into mind that a huge meta impact. Yeah. So I could see like, I'm not sure yet, like if this is gonna be meta impactful. I think it really comes down to dragons, like the release of dragons, because I feel like the thing that has been changing the meta the most since last year has been movement, right? The movement buffs have been stupid, and they've been just like warping the game around themselves. And we saw that last year with Pathfinder and Legendary Sigurd, and we've seen some of it this year as well with like the teleporting on Sonya and now Lilith. So between those and then also just the fact that Ninian can just give movement to dragons is actually a big deal, right? Because every single dragon that comes out after Ninian now has the advantage of Ninian existing. Which is a big deal. Like it's gonna be very powerful. Giving armors 2 movement is a good thing. Like definitely a very good thing. I mean, like look how often in SD people run things like Bridal Catria or Guidance or anything they really can to get through.
or Pathfinder, right? Or definitely Pathfinder, to get armors into position, right? And with Ninian, you can kind of do that, right? As long as they're dragons, which a lot of the best save units are going to be dragons. Ascended to Dune, Halloween Myrrh are amazing, Legendary Tiki, and possibly Brave Tiki in the future.
Yeah. I feel like people really understate how impactful like giving +1 movement to an armor is. I feel like that's one of the reasons why like Brave Edelgard was so good back then, was because not only did she have 2 movement, she had like the acrobatics effect on her as well, which just enabled so many movement shenanigans. Valentine's Lucina can sort of do something similar with Future Vision, and like movement in general is such an important ability to have, and the fact that IS is continuing to build off of that is pretty cool, but also pretty scary. But regardless, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why save units got fighter skills, and fighter skills historically have been some of those busted skills in the game, and the reason for that is because they have 1 movement. Right. So anytime you can get around that weakness, it's always going to be a powerful thing.
For sure. And I guess circling back all the way back, now that we are 1 year in the original banner with Fallen Edelgard, do you think, what is your perspective on the reactions to that Fallen banner? And do you think it was deserved or potentially not, depending on the meta impact?
I think it was completely deserved. Like,
that's good.
It's kind of you can't really understate how impactful seeing a unit with that many effects built into them is, right? That's you're setting a precedent with a unit like that, and so even if she has become more reasonable to deal with, doesn't mean that it wasn't a big effect on the game.
Right.
Not only that, like Fallen Dimitri has gotten better. I have to, as a Dimitri sim,
that's
I have
true.
to say,
That's true.
He's
That's
gotten a lot better.
Yes.
Vital Astra's a big upgrade for him, and also the 2 inheritable lances.
Ninja Naginata.
That one, which one's the true damage one?
I think that was Ninja Naginata. It's the one on Mailcorin, right?
Right. And then there's the other one too that like gives speed, but both of those are really, really good on him. So I think he has gotten better over time, which is nice considering at the time I was not very happy with him.
Right.
Well, right now I'm very happy with him.
I mean, I think the problem with Fallen Dimitri back then was that his weapon was just not good, right? But like Ninja Naginata definitely fixed that.
It was so dumb. I just didn't understand. Like, okay, if he can't make a double, then you get more damage. It's like, well, he's really, really fast, and you gave him all this investment to make him fast. So the only reason why he's not doubling is if he's running into an armor with a wary effect. So like, really, that's what your whole weapon is going to be about?
Right. Like, I feel like just having no follow-up on his weapon would have been so much more better. Like, if his only effect was just no follow-up, that would have been so much better than like whatever he got.
Yeah, just give me the stats and then NFU, and I would literally be like, hey, this is perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Even without the cooldown reduction, I'd still be happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, he's cool. I still like him though. I haven't like done the most with him yet, but I do want to, especially after I watched like Phoenix Masters like clears, like the Gale Force clears with him.
Oh yes.
Always makes me happy. I'm like, oh yeah, Dimitri's doing good.
Yeah. His synergy with like Winter Bernie and being able to do those like either Ardent Sacrifice or Reciprocal Aid Sacrifice plays are always just so clean. And yes, I think he's in a really good place right now. I actually do think he might be in a better place than Fallen Edelgard, actually, because of that Fire Sweep effect and Canto being so impactful these days. Although, obviously, nothing beats Fallen Edelgard's triple action on Gale Force.
Canto is very, very nice, especially on a melee unit. Like, that's just something, or on an infantry unit, I should say. It's something that's very good. Like, when you look at just, I think it's Murderous Line, right? The Murderous Line B skill.
Yeah.
That effect is stupidly good. It's like, hey, you want -3 speed and defense and Canto, and they can't counterattack? Like, if you put that on pretty much any other unit, that unit's becoming broken pretty quick.
Yeah. That was what I thought, why I thought Fallen Dimitri was better. But yeah, it just required the right weapon on him in order to actually get that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I think
even his base weapon is not too bad when you think about it. It's like a 25 might weapon when you look at it, right? It's like 60 might attack, and then 6 more attack and speed. Like that's 25 might on a weapon is pretty good just to beat people up.
Yeah. See, Fallen Dimitri, I feel, is super underrated, and I think more people need to discover his greatness in being able to do those player phase clears. Like, everyone is focusing on Fallen Edelgard with good reason. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be another single unit with that much impact as her, at least on the community. But what was I going to say? I completely lost my train of thought.
So I'm going to change the subject a little bit here.
Okay.
Speaking of Edelgard and Dimitri, we've spoken of a lot. Obviously, I think anyone in the community could tell you that within the next month or 2, we are getting a new Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude. Like, that's just going to happen. So what do you think they can do to make Dimitri and Edelgard unique? Because most likely we're getting another axe and another lance, Edelgard and Dimitri.
Yes. Well, what they should have done is they should have made Brave Edelgard a red mage or some sort of mage to lean into that dark talent, dark magic talent that she has in the base game. That would have been so cool, and I think there's already, at least if not official art, really cool fan art of that. Like, they should have done that, because like CYL4 was so boring, and I think both of us can agree on that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was so disappointed. It wasn't even funny.
For Dimitri, I don't know. I think either having him as like a bow, either a bow or a dagger unit, I think could make him super unique and super cool, and also like tie into his story as well. It doesn't have to be an infantry dagger. It could be, I guess it could be cavalry dagger. He's a horse in his base form, so that would make sense. And obviously for like,
do something.
Yeah, they need to do something. I mean, I think one of the reasons why they haven't really gotten creative, besides being super lazy on CYL4, is the fact that surprisingly we haven't gotten a lot of seasonal alts of these lords. Like, I don't think they've gotten any seasonal alt yet. And you know, seasonal alts in general are the ones that have the more creative weapon and movement types, right?
That's true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I think even so, though, like, how many years has it been? Like 3 years since Three Houses, almost. So like
2019,
we've got like
3 years.
Yeah, like we've got like 6 Edelgards, and they're like all axes. It's
yeah.
I just really hope they don't do that, even though I think they will do that. Like, I think we
just
are going to get another infantry axe Edelgard. But I hope they make her unique in some way, right? Like, give her something that other Edelgards can't do.
I mean, in one sense, I think it would be a really cool continuation of a theme if she had some sort of like Raging Storm effect. But I do agree that finding a way to make her unique and not the same as like Legendary Edelgard or Fallen Edelgard. I mean, actually, like Fallen Edelgard and Legendary Fallen Edelgard and Legendary Edelgard are different in a way.
Yeah.
So, like, just because they both have Raging Storm doesn't necessarily mean they are, like, strictly the same. I don't know. I think I'll have to think about potential... Or maybe, she can actually double now as a axe unit with Raging Storm.
I mean, if they make Fallen Edelgard, right, 2, Fallen Edelgard 2, but she's an infantry and she can double, that's gonna be a broken unit. Like, that's gonna be really annoying to deal with. And I could see them doing that.
Oh, you just spoke it into existence. That's going to be June.
Sorry. Watch them do that though. Watch them make like infantry axe Edelgard. She has like the Raging Storm effect, and she can double. And then they're gonna release Claude, and Claude's gonna still have the Fallen Star effect. Like, oh gosh.
Oh,
that's gonna be so annoying to deal with.
Oh, even as infantry, you don't need to worry about like transformation effects either, or armor movement, or armor weakness, or anything like that. Oh boy, yeah. I'm scared now.
Because I mean, they have done that in the past, right? They do give typically the PRF skill from past alts to new versions.
Right.
But I don't see them giving armor to wall to Edelgard, right? Like, I don't think that's going to happen, but I could see them giving the Raging Tempest effect. Yeah. And then the same with Claude, where I could see them just giving him the preference B skill. That could happen.
That definitely could.
Same with Dimitri. Oh, gosh. Atrocity. Huh.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, Dimitri's already like an infantry lance that could use that. So I think...
Right.
It would have to be on a horse in order to make that better than our current legendary Dimitri.
I'd rather than give him Murderous Lion on a horse. That would be really cool.
That's true. Yeah, Murderous Lion is super busted.
People would be so mad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he has 3 movement all the time now.
Perfect.
Right, yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I think I'm very excited to see what 3 Hopes brings to the game.
I'm so excited,
not only
too.
For Faye, but just like, for the community in total, because I think it's going to be a very impactful game.
Yeah, I feel like it might be the Fallen banner or the Valentine's banner of this year, potentially, if like all our predictions are going to come correct. I mean, all I know is that Brave Crom is going to get to change fate because of the seals, preference skills. It's going to happen, and you know it.
And it's not going to even count as preference skill. He's going to get another preference skill.
Oh, yes.
He's going to 100%.
Yeah. He's going to have, like... he's going to be a green bow with 2 change fate. He'll still kill armors. And he'll have a preference skill that ignores null armor for whatever reason. That's going to be his skill. The days of Brave Hector are over.
Whenever he uses a reposition, it puts, like, a flash on everyone within 4 space.
They can do that. Like, that's not even outside the realm of possibility. They can legitimately do that.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting because if we look back to, like, the first 3 houses banner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the units themselves weren't that meta. I guess Byleth maybe, but they came with a lot of meta skills, like Ruptured Sky, the introduction of lulls. So maybe we get another like set of like crazy skills like that.
I didn't know they were the introduction of lulls. Really?
Mm-hmm, yeah, like wow. Base Dimitri and base Claude had the lull attack defense and lull speed defense.
Yeah, they were definitely added in the game before I started playing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and then I guess Sothis also introduced Times Pulse, which was on that month's legendary banner or mythic banner.
Right, and obviously Times Pulse is a super good skill now.
Right. Yeah. Ultimate meta skill. So maybe we'll get something like that. Maybe we'll get Times Pulse 2. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Or Times Pulse 4, the Power Creep version of Times Pulse. Like
that's what I meant. I didn't too.
Oh yeah. They could. I could see that being put on the White Dragon person.
Yeah, the new god or whatever it is.
Yeah, they could Larva, I think, or some Arvel.
Arvel, yeah.
Arvel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get Times Pulse 4. We already got Speed Smoke 4 and all the smokes 4. What's the next skill to get Power Crept? Probably if they ever Power Crept B skills, that's the moment where things will.
I've been waiting for it forever. Like it has to come eventually, right? Like how do we not have Quick Repose 4 yet? Like I expected that like 2 years ago.
How have we not have Guard Seal? Not let alone Guard 4. Like,
oh gosh, Guard Seal will be really good.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that they haven't introduced that seal. Like they introduced Steady Breath before a Guard Seal. Like you really had to do Brave Lucina dirty like that. Come on, IS.
Oh man, yeah, I was really surprised they put that in. The thing I'm most scared of is Vantage Seal. If they put a Vantage Seal in, it's gonna be so annoying.
Oh my god, yeah, that would actually, I think, make Vantage extremely meta, and yeah, there would be so many more units that will be able to run Vantage and just completely dominate.
I think it would just be like a giant annoyance. It's just like, ugh, I have to bring a Hardy Bearing unit on every single team now, just because people are annoying.
I mean, that would be a return to the old ARD ways, so we already prepared for that, I guess.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been about an hour and 10 minutes, so we definitely have been talking for a very long time. But do you have any final thoughts on any of the things we've discussed about either last year's Fallen Banner, this year's Fallen Banner, future banners, future skills? Any other final thoughts?
I guess my final thought would be look forward to future dragons. I think that is going to be something that comes up a lot. I think also special acceleration is a big thing that comes up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So if Larva or Arvel comes out, right, as a new mythic,
Right.
and their dragon, or Brave Tiki comes out and their dragon and their super meta, expect to see Brave Ninian a lot. I guess that would be the final thing I want to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, honestly, yeah, Fallen Ninian I think is super sleeper and will definitely be popping off in the coming months. As for my final thoughts, I definitely don't think this year's Fallen Banner will be as impactful as last year's Fallen Banner, which is a good thing. And yeah, I think in general, there's a lot of things to be excited for. Despite that, like, I really love Lilith. I really love Ninian. The other units are okay. I don't let KTB hear that. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, Oblivion, for joining me and discussing things about Fae, commemorating this 1-year anniversary. Also, by the way, congrats on the anniversary to your channel and reaching 2,000 subscribers. Super happy for you, and it's been amazing to see you grow as well. You were one of the best Fae tubers out there, I think.
Well, thank you so much. Really sweet. Thank you so much.
No problem. And yeah, you all also subscribe to The0blivionknight and my channel as well. Link will be in the description. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.